Good afternoon, Trump's family. Welcome back to my channel. Have a good day and God bless you. Let's get into the news. And today's just another opportunity for Democrats to try to continue to draw parallels between all of the major tragedies that this country has seen over the years. And rope in 1/6 with it right. January 6th, they want January 6th to be 9/11. They want January 6th to be Pearl Harbor. They want January 6th to beat the Civil War. They want January 6th to be 1812. They want January 6th to be remembered the same way we remembered to all of those other emphasizes, but the country does not remember January 6th that way because we understand what took place on January 6th, we understand the government's role. In January 6th, we understand the peaceful protest that was taking place outside, that was hijacked by so many different federal agencies in order to try to attempt a coup against President Trump at the time, and at the same time to justifiably launch a war against Trump and his supporters. This is why Democrats, people like Hillary Clinton, Kamala Harris, Joe Biden, go down the list in mainstream media, blue checkmarks over on Twitter or Facebook or wherever, continue to try to draw those parallels because they want the public to recognize that way when open war and how open war is actually conducted when they utilize the military to go after civilians who support Trump. It can be justifiedly made because of the Patriot Act, because of Homeland Security, and everything else that came along with the horrible events that took place on 9/11. And now we have people like Kamala Harris and Hillary Clinton all pushing and hitting the same drum. We've been being conditioned, or the country is being conditioned to accept the fact that it's okay to hunt down Trump supporter. So let's go and dive into what we have here. We have Kamala Harris compares 9/11 terrorist attacks to January 6th protests at the U.S. Capitol. Don't surprise me. Surprise you guys either. Elections have consequences, and fortified elections have cashed your stuffing consequences in January. Kamala Harris compared the January 6th protests in Washington, D.C. to Pearl Harbor and 9/11 Islamic attacks on America. We are worried this despicable display, right? Kamala Harris says on our calendars, but a place in our collective memory. December 7, 1941, September 11, 2001 and January 6, 2021. So what do we have here? 2335. U.S. military personnel were killed on December 7, 1941-2977. Were murdered by Islamists on September 11, which I would add, our government actually helped facilitate that. So you know. Anyway, that's just another video for another day. For Trump supporters were killed on January 6, 2 were killed by police. 1 was shot dead in cold blood. A police officer died the next day after suffering a stroke. On 1/6. Senator Mitch had put out an exit tomorrow, September 11. Looking forward to the January 6 troopers reminding us that January 6 was totally worse than 9/11. Everyone listen to this, Kamala said. On our calendars. But a place in our collective memory. December 7, 1941, September 11, 2001 and January 6, 2021. Okay, it's a conditioning that they continue to try to go after. They want to remind Americans or get Americans used to the fact that January 6 was worse than any of those things and is justifiably able to go after Trump supporters. That is the next step in this process that we currently see. And the way we are currently heading. President Trump has passed a certain threshold. That should tell you he hasn't committed a crime. The 60-day rule is that, well, you know, we'll read this: DOJ unlikely to charge Trump before midterms. As unofficial timeline passes Newsweek. The Department of Justice may now hold off making a decision on whether to criminally charge Donald Trump until after the midterms in order to abide by the so-called 60-day rule. There is number 60-day rule if somebody actually committed a crime. This is all nonsense. Now, had Trump actually committed a crime that could be convicted in a way that where he could be convicted in a court of law, they would have indicted him at any point before the 60-day rule or a day before midterms. They don't care. They are desperate to indict and convict Trump. They can't convict him on anything. From January to New York and his tax returns and businesses to Georgia pressuring officials. The Mueller probe couldn't get him. They can't get him on clashes on documents about nuclear armament. Oh, my God, they already know he has classified documents, they're looking at going into his other properties. You can indict him tomorrow if he actually committed a crime. This is all nonsense. But here, While the 60-day rule is not official legislation, there was a long-running tradition that the Department of Justice will avoid making any decision that could affect how people vote so close to an upcoming midterms. They raided Mar-a-Lago, first president ever they had the Federal Bureau of Investigation go into his property. And, they also set up and framed an incoming president. An outgoing Democratic Party administration set up and framed an incoming Republican president stating that, well, we think that there was compromising, or that another country helped install this new candidate. There's new President Trump. And we need to investigate with the Mueller probe, which found absolutely nothing. Nobody was indicted for conspiring alongside foreign intelligence officials, which was what he was accused of. It was a Steele dossier, literally purchased by his direct political rivals. Now, his direct political rivals are investigating him in every state. And they're investigating him with the federal government. And so it's all projection when they say Trump went after his direct political rivals. No, they're going after him everywhere, and Bannon and Miller and everyone around him. You think this is apolitical, but anyway, as of Saturday, November 8th, midterms are now 59 days away, meaning that if the DOJ chooses to follow the informal guidance, they must wait to make or announce a decision to charge Trump until after the midterms match. That's Newsweek, and the New York Times has an article, Trump investigation faces a dilemma before the midterms, and the Washington Examiner has another article on this. And then Bloomberg Law, DOJ is likely to wait past midterms to reveal any Trump indictment. And here's the problem with media in our country. I just read you a number of articles talking about how the DOJ has to adhere to an unofficial guideline. It's tradition after all. They don't care about tradition. They are investigating a former president in numerous states. Democrats are going after Trump in numerous states, going after his tax returns, his businesses, any allies he has. They are leveling the state, local and federal government against this man. And mashed potato brands. Our beloved president stated that Trump Republicans are armed. Robert Browner, the threat of a Maker Faire labeling 70+ million Americans as a big dilemma to democracy, which is hilarious because Hunter has emails published by the Daily Mail and then broke this. The New York Post broke the story and was suspended by Twitter, because they broke the story 2 years ago. Has emails that show clear violations of law where Hunter and Joe could be indicted under a Justice Department that actually was apolitical, which is not the case. When they said William Barr was an attorney for Trump, or what was it? What were they saying? The right-hand man, or what was they say? Trump's personal attorney. Nothing could be further from the truth. Merrick Garland is basically working for the Democratic Party, not the country. He's going after Trump simply for political motive. And there's no when they say, oh, the rule of law, the rule over all that Democrats care so much about. James Comey stated, and I'll be doing a short on this. James Comey stated that although there's potential violations of the statutes pertaining to the handling of classified data, no reasonable prosecutor would indict. Madam Secretary was above the rule of law. All these people are hilarious. It's like being lectured about civility and morality by actual criminals. I mean, it's like, we all see this. When you're hearing somebody say something negative about you. And you're saying, I can hear you. It's like, we know we have Hunter with clear violations, graft bribery, pay-to-play schemes, quid pro quo nonsense, right there. The New York Post and the Daily Mail. Had they have all the articles, the emails, and it's like, he's literally getting emails, how can you use your influence on the company's behalf? And then you're getting officials at the Bureau saying we'll stop Trump. And then you have Clinton with top-secret intelligence funneled outside of the United States government on secret servers, where 30,000 emails are deleted. But you don't have ex-Bureau officials saying, gee, maybe she sold classified data on those deleted emails. I'm not even accusing her of that. And I want Clinton to be the nominee for the Democratic Party. I want to Hillary Trump 2024, but they're going after Trump. Like it's the only thing they have. Almost certainly we have a geopolitical nightmare in Europe. And Democrats and mashed potato brains Joe didn't even want to stop. They could have negotiated. Some tried to negotiate a peace deal. We had Matt Cole in France. You had some other people in Europe try, but not Joe. Not the morally superior liberals. No, they're gonna blame their own policies on what's taking place in Europe. We have household median income down. We had it at record high under Trump in 2019. I want that. We have a record low in poverty in 2019. Under Trump, I want. That's why you vote. That's why it's a moral imperative to vote for Trump. All of this nonsense, this history. Maria, look, media has an obvious overt agenda. They're all liberal Democrats. They sided with the Democratic Party. They actively suppress any stories that are detrimental to the Democratic Party. You just heard. This is really sad and frightening and horrendous and terrible. And you had an atrocity take place in Nevada. You're a journalist for the Las Vegas Journal-Review, who might have had his life ended by a Democratic politician, a Democrat. Yes, that's right. Say slowly, Democratic Party. A Democrat might have ended someone's life, a journalist's life. His DNA was found at the scene. And you want to know how media covered it? And official, a local official. See, why don't you say the word Democrat? All that's right. Because almost everything mashed potato brains, Joe says the opposite takes place. So he kept saying. Just the other day I heard from Republicans. Danger to democracy, man. And then you have a Democrat ending the life of a journalist. And not one article condemning this in the New York Times or the Washington Post. Why not Washington Post or New York Times? If it was a Trump Republican that ended the journalist's life, God forbid, it would be nonstop. It would be 24/7 coverage. And that's why Trump will get almost half of the electorate or more always. Everyone knows the playing field is in level. Everyone knows that media actively suppresses any detrimental story to the Democratic Party. And everybody knows that. Well, let's put it this way. If people believe, if the issue is about emotion and sentiment, so Democrats always blame false information on any suspicion leveled at them. Okay. The issue is that they almost certainly warrant or deserve suspicion leveled at them. Look at Bernie Sanders. The DNC said fair and neutral. And then they cheated Bernie Sanders' van. They said all Trump had something to do with the perhaps he benefited from the DNC as well. What do you think anyone would benefit? You cheated a candidate? Bernie Sanders. You cheated Bernie Sanders. What do you think's going to happen? I used to be the biggest Bernie Sanders booster on the internet, according to the Huffington Post, and I was the unofficial scribe of Sanders, his most hardcore voters, according to the Washington Post. What do you think's going to happen if you cheat Bernie Sanders? Of course, the competitor or the political rival will benefit, but then they said, yeah, Trump and DNC email and the Russia and the Kremlin, and wanted to Trump and they wanted to be elevated Trump. It's within their own emails that Political published that a day before November of 2016. And they were caught off guard. Media was caught off guard. They're not caught off guard. Now they're throwing everything including the kitchen sink at Trump. They are ready for Trump. But the thing is, the momentum is building. You have Jim Jordan, you have James Comey, or you have a bunch of people in Congress that are actually have integrity, Rand Paul, and going after a very corrupt Democratic Party, and they will impeach mashed potato brains numerous times, probably, but definitely once 2023 they might indict Trump, just because Joe will get impeached. But they won't convict him in a court of law, and they steal 8% of Democrats. I was gonna do a segment on that. And nobody really, whenever I do those types of segments, nobody cares. But 8% of Democrats in that poll, and a majority of Republicans would vote for an indict Trump. Think about that for a second. 8% of Democrats. I think it's a Newsweek talks about, I forgot what publication, but 8% of Democrats, if you can believe that. And so almost 1 out of 10 Democrats would say, yeah, gimme Trump indicted. Okay. And it seems as though Donald Trump is back. I think a lot of people can finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. That's what I got for you guys though. Thanks.